Oh, hey there, Bill. Welcome back to the channel. Whoa! Before the reading actually starts, I just want to tell you this backstory so you can be less confused. This I wrote this when I was smoking 6,000 cocaine. I mean grams. Actually, scratch that. I was eating 6,000 kilograms of cocaine, and it resulted in this literature. Also, I wrote this exaggerating the events in my personal social Discord group. Don't ask what happened that resulted again in the a piece of literature you are about to be read to, because I don't want to talk about it. Okay, enjoy the video. Chapter 1. The Penis Legion. Once upon a time, there was a mythical being named the Moby. He would cleanse the world's fundamental flaws and broken holes in the rules of physics. Okay, that sounds very wrong. With his shocking amounts of pink rough doodles and soft tampons, he would walk the lands in a mere blink of an eye. Blink of an eye and help unpleasant people in less than a second. This is the best literature I've ever read. However, one day, the guild that he had formed, the Penis Legion, dispersed. Different members went different paths and diverged in different ways. Hence, since then, the Moby was then never seen. Then, leaving the world in total shambles and chaotic people with horniness left in them. Now, the question is, did this story ever exist? To put into perspective how powerful the Penis Legion was, every entity that is just slightly weaker than the Moby would be in that group. A celestial god named the Jan, the fuck is that name, would be able to accumulate mass out of nothing but magic. A Remental, a very powerful race of creatures. I don't expect you to understand the new terms, cause this wasn't written out of serious manner. Names Skeletal, but how the fuck? I wrote this and I can't even read that. Skeletal had the capability to provide immortal life through the gifts of unusual dick rings. And I'm an ever living angel named Furayi, which through the power of sex could sustain itself forever and protect itself from any physical harm or effect, including the pull and
Spaghettification.
whatever that robot said of black holes. Of course, the rest of the galaxy ended up in a state that is definitely and noticeably worse than before Moby left. But its inhabitants managed with their horny and worked their way around the occurring fundamental flaws and errors of the physical space of the universe. The disappearance of Moby had evolved life itself, an ironic fact. By the way, I just want to point out, but I don't think I need to point out, I'm not very good at writing. And this is one of the worst. What's the right word? Piece of writing you've ever seen. All sentient life thought that when Moby eventually would have left, space would be left to rot in an ever declining state. But despite the foresight, Moby was such a legendary creature that even when he had vacated, he somehow still created the greatest benefit out of his trembling slumber: adaptation. In the epic glorious era of the Penis Legion, there was another unnamed group consisting of threatening females. Isn't that just Karens? They were essentially the main enemy of the Penis Legion. Under a seemingly clueless leader named Kylie, the group swore on an oath that announced their immense goals: to have collected and gathered more sex toys than the Moby has ever had. This objective was, of course, borderline impossible and almost a sure topic to be humoured by if anyone or any group was to attempt to achieve such. If you want to collect more sex toys than a Moby, you really need to plan something up. Those females did, and then they planned shit. All they did was like, yo, what if we just collect a shit ton of sex toys? It clearly didn't work out because there's a strategy to collecting sex toys, which is to not directly buy them from the cheapest nearest store, because you just put them out of business. I think that's how it works. I think. This objective was, of course, borderline impossible. Oh wait, I already read this part. However, the primary reason this unnamed group was mentioned is because of their insane efforts, pushing them almost close to the success. Unfortunately, the Penis Legion laughed and held their dicks in. I'm not proud that I've written this with my hands and my virtual keyboard while thinking this was a good idea. I mean, it clearly is, but at the same time it isn't, and showed the group the true limits of their abilities, completely crushing the group's efforts under their wake. People say that there's an extension to this ever-existing story. They said that Moby then went on to create a smaller but more aggressive coalition known as the Homophobic Gang. Disclaimer, this is actually, I can't do anything about it. This is a target towards gay LGBT people. But we don't mean it in an aggressive, like, oh, I hate you kind of way. It's just a joke. This is all a joke. The aim of said group was to completely clean and wipe the planet Earth of a certain infectious phenomenon called gay. I'm going to die. Which was heavily present in the modern society. This effect opposed against the will of reproduction nature, remaining to result in a decrease in the human population. However, some members of the Foundation were found to have fallen victim to such an effect. They were killed, but in the meantime, the Moby once again vanished and molded into the void of history. Finally, first chapter done. Next chapter. Chapter 2. The Newer Times. A New Demigod. As days pass and fade, stretching further and further from the moment Moby disappeared, an anonymous demigod holding by the name Joe Ligma. How old is this mean? Started an entirely different association known as the Mug Gang. Although not as powerful as how the Penis Legion was rumored to be, the Mug Gang displayed its most powerful weapon and might, the Mug root beer. This is not any sort of ordinary root beer, but one tasting so rich and flavored it could open wormholes, grant godly strength to those who consume. The Mug Gang, while also wielding its power. God, I'm drinking Sprite right now. It tastes really good. Swore on an alliance here that he...
Hierarchy.
Thank you, robot. To gatekeep and guard such powerful data. The last drop of Mug root beer is stored inside an interdimensional crucible fixed at the midway point of a black hole from its horizon zero to its center in the universe. That single drop of Mug root beer, due to its current circumstances, has gained an abnormal usage of endless evolution. Every ink, by the way, this is just some stupid thing I made up. It's not, no, we don't call the smallest measurement of time ink. But it is in time. It will self-sustain and self-improve its anomalous property, magnifying its potential effect. It is carefully calculated and predicted that in 5 more years, Earth years, if someone managed to get their hands on it and digest it, they would have enough strength to completely annihilate the universe. Due to this prediction, Joe Ligma and the Mug Gang have decided to bind their lives to secrecy and guard. These individuals were later known as Morguardians. In recent times, the Mug Gang is composed. Oh, it tastes so fucking good. It's composed of certain members that were also involved in other particular crowds. One of these crowds specifically was the apex predators. Specialty: veterans of skilled, dangerous weaponry. These tools were complicated and required a sense of astronomical understanding and certainty to operate properly. This was also a way to ensure that only the apex predators could use their own weapons. Outsiders would never be able to control apex weaponry. The apex weaponry is a collection of unfortunately minacious. I don't know why it's blue. It's clearly right, unless it's wrong. In which case, can you tell me why it's not minacious? Armaments that proved destroying planets and civilizations was just a cake. In a stellar luck, however, the apex predators established a positive and peaceful status, using their weapons only against intruders of Code Y9. And that is the end. I never continued. Not yet, anyway. But I don't think you would want me to continue, considering how fucking crude and how bad this sex jokes after sex jokes. And some epicness in battles as well, I guess. Bye.